Welcome, travelers, to the world of Norse mythology, an ancient tale of gods, giants, and cosmic battles. These stories were told in the frozen northlands of the Vikings, where long winters and roaring storms shaped their beliefs. Here we will journey across the 9 realms, meet the mighty gods of Asgard, the cunning trickster Loki, the monsters born of giants, and the final battle that ends all things, Ragnarok. At the center of Norse mythology stands Yggdrasil, the world tree. Its roots and branches connect 9 great realms. High above lies Asgard, home of the gods, ruled by Odin the All-Father. Beside it is Vanaheim, the land of the Vanir gods, masters of fertility and magic. Alfheim is the radiant world of the light elves, beings of beauty and brightness. In the middle lies Midgard, the realm of humankind, encircled by the great sea serpent Jormungandr. Below Midgard is Svartalfheim, the realm of dwarves, master craftsmen of enchanted weapons. Jotunheim is the land of the giants, forever at war with Asgard. In darkness lies Niflheim, a world of ice and mist, and Muspelheim, a realm of fire, where the fire giant Surtur waits for the end of days. And finally, Helheim, the land of the dead, ruled by Hel, daughter of Loki. Among the gods of Asgard, none was more feared by giants than Thor, the god of thunder. He was massive in size, tall, broad, red-bearded, with fiery eyes and a booming voice that shook the heavens. His strength was unmatched, and in battle he wore an iron belt that doubled his power and iron gloves made for combat. Thor rode across the sky in a chariot pulled by 2 goats, Tangrasnir and Tangjoster, whose hooves sparked lightning as they raced through the clouds. Wherever he went, storms followed. Thunder was the echo of his rage, rolling across the 9 realms. Thor was not just a warrior. He was the protector of Midgard, defending humans from giants and monsters who sought to destroy them. But long before he wielded his mighty hammer, Mjolnir, Thor's story began differently. He was born of 2 worlds, Odin, the All-Father of the gods, and Jr, the giantess who was the living spirit of the earth. From his father, Thor inherited the blood of the divine. From his mother, he gained the raw strength and endurance of nature itself. Before Mjolnir was forged, Thor already fought bravely for Asgard's safety. He battled with iron clubs, great axes, and his own bare hands, guided only by his power and courage. His mighty belt of strength, Megingr, doubled his power, making him nearly unstoppable in battle. Thor lived in his great hall Bilskirnir, in the land of Rvangr, where endless storms rolled across the sky. From there, he watched over Asgard, guarding its golden gates from the frost giants of Jotunheim. The Norse people believed that when thunder roared, it was Thor riding his chariot across the heavens, battling unseen giants beyond the clouds. His hammer would come later, but the storms had always been his own power, born from his divine spirit and the fury of the sky. Thor was so beloved that even centuries later, one day of the week was named after him, Thursday, or Thor's Day. Farmers prayed to him for good weather, warriors for courage, and travelers for safe journeys. To them, every storm was a sign that Thor still watched over both gods and men. Before the age of men, before the gods built Asgard, there was only the great void, Ginnungagap. On one side was Niflheim, the land of ice, frost, and endless mist. On the other was Muspelheim, a blazing realm of fire and flame, where the fire giant Surtur guarded its borders. When the fires of Muspelheim met the frozen rivers of Niflheim, the ice melted, and from the drops of water life was born the giant Ymir, father of all frost giants. From Ymir's sweat and body came more giants, fierce and wild. Alongside him was the great cow Aumbla, who licked salty ice blocks until she uncovered the first of the gods, Buri, ancestor of the Aesir. Buri's son, Bor, married the giantess Bestla, and from their union came 3 brothers, Odin, Vili, and Ve. Together they attacked Ymir, slaying the primeval giant. From his blood came the seas, from his flesh the earth, from his bones the mountains, from his skull the sky, and from his eyebrows the great wall that became Midgard. Odin, the eldest, became the All-Father, ruling Asgard, seeking wisdom and preparing for the fate of all gods, Ragnarok. Odin, though king of the gods, valued wisdom above all. To see what others could not, he sacrificed one of his eyes at Mimir's well, drinking from its waters of knowledge. From then on, Odin's one remaining eye burned with divine vision. But this was not his only sacrifice. Odin hung himself upon the world tree, Yggdrasil, pierced by his own spear, for 9 nights. In this trial of death, he discovered the runes, the secret magic of the cosmos, which gave him power over fate itself. Odin became known as the All-Father, a wanderer of realms, cloaked in a wide-brimmed hat and staff, seeking knowledge, preparing for the final war that even he could not escape. Among the gods of Asgard lived one who was not truly one of them, Loki. Born of the frost giants, Loki was clever, charming, and unpredictable. Odin bound him to the Aesir as a blood brother, for Loki's wit often helped the gods in times of trouble. Yet his heart was restless. Loki was neither fully friend nor enemy. At times he saved the gods with brilliant schemes. At other times his mischief caused disasters. He was a shapeshifter, taking the form of a falcon, a fly, even a mare. His silver tongue could trick even the wisest. But Loki's greatest legacy was not his tricks, it was his children, born of strange unions, who would bring terror to gods and men alike. In the land of the giants, Loki took as his mate the giantess Angerboda. From their dark union came 3 monstrous children. The first was Fenrir, a wolf of terrifying size, destined to grow so vast that he would swallow the sun. The second was Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent cast into the ocean by Odin, where it grew until it encircled the entire world. The third was Hel, half living, half dead, banished to the underworld where she ruled over the souls of those who died of sickness and old age. The gods feared these children, for prophecies foretold they would bring ruin at Ragnarok. Odin ordered them taken away. Jormungandr was hurled into the sea. Hel was cast down to the underworld. Fenrir was kept in Asgard, where only the bravest dared to approach him. Of Loki's children, Fenrir grew the fastest. No chain could hold him, and the gods feared his strength. Only the brave god Tyr, master of war and justice, dared to feed him. To bind Fenrir, the gods asked the dwarves to craft a magical chain called Gleipnir. It looked like a silken ribbon, but it was made from the sound of a cat's footstep, the beard of a woman, the roots of a mountain, the sinews of a bear, the breath of a fish, and the spittle of a bird. The gods brought Fenrir to a lonely island and challenged him. If he could not break this ribbon, he would prove his strength. Suspicious, Fenrir demanded a pledge. One of the gods must place a hand in his mouth as a sign of trust. Tyr stepped forward without fear. As the ribbon tightened and Fenrir found he could not break free, rage filled him. He snapped his jaws, severing Tyr's hand. Bound and howling, Fenrir was chained until Ragnarok, the war between the Aesir and the Vanir. In the earliest days of the world, long before Thor gained his mighty hammer, there were 2 great tribes of gods, the Aesir and the Vanir. The Aesir, led by Odin, ruled from Asgard. They were gods of war, order, and power, fierce, proud, and strong. Odin, Thor, Frigg, and Tyr belonged to this tribe. The Vanir, on the other hand, were gods of fertility, nature, and prosperity, living in Vanaheim. Their deities included Njord, the god of the sea, and his children Frey and Freya, gods of peace, love, and harvest. For a time, the 2 tribes lived apart, but pride and mistrust grew between them. The war began with the Vanir goddess Gulveig, a mysterious woman skilled in magic and prophecy. When she came to Asgard, the Aesir distrusted her sorcery. They tried to destroy her with fire, not once, but 3 times, yet she was reborn each time, stronger than before. Seeing this, the Vanir were enraged and declared war. The battle between the Aesir and Vanir shook the 9 realms. The sky thundered, mountains split, and both sides suffered heavy losses. Thor, though young and without his hammer, fought bravely with his strength alone, wielding great clubs and axes against the Vanir warriors. But neither side could claim victory. Finally, weary of endless war, they agreed to a truce. To seal the peace, each tribe sent hostages to live among the other. The Vanir sent Njord and his children Frey and Freya to Asgard, where they became honored gods. In return, the Aesir sent Honor and the wise god Mimir to Vanaheim. This peace between the tribes changed the fate of the gods forever. The Aesir learned the deep magic and wisdom of the Vanir, the secrets of fertility and nature, while the Vanir gained the strength and might of the Aesir. Together, they became one pantheon, ruling over Asgard and the realms beyond. From that time onward, the gods stood united. But even in peace, they remembered the scars of their great war, and how easily pride could divide even the divine. And so, Asgard flourished again, until one day, a trickster named Loki would cause mischief among the gods, leading to the forging of their greatest treasures.